The rain hammered the windshield like it was trying to break through, turning the Brooklyn streets into a smeared watercolor of neon and regret. I gripped the steering wheel of my beat-up Honda, my knuckles white, as Andrew's voice cut through the static of the radio. "Pull over, Alex. Just pull the fuck over." His words weren't a request. They were a grenade, pin-pulled, and I knew the explosion was coming. I slammed on the brakes outside that dive bar on Atlantic Avenue, the one Joseph always dragged us to for cheap whiskey and bad decisions. Andrew was out the door before the car fully stopped, his boots splashing into puddles that swallowed his silhouette whole. "Wait!" I yelled, but the storm swallowed it too. By the time I chased him into the alley, he was backed against the graffiti-scarred brick wall, chest heaving, eyes wild like a cornered animal. "You think you can just drop that bomb and walk away?" he snarled, his southern drawl thickening with the fury. "After everything?" I froze, the downpour soaking my shirt to my skin, because in that moment, with lightning cracking the sky like a whip, I realized the night we'd shared, the one that started with his casual "Hey, crash at my place, your brother's out of town," hadn't been casual at all. It had been the spark that ignited a fire I didn't know I was flammable for. And now, it was burning us both alive. That night had begun innocently enough, or at least that's what I'd tell myself in the hangover haze of denial. It was a sticky August evening in 2023, the kind where New York's humidity clings to your soul like a bad ex. I was 22, fresh out of NYU with a useless film degree and a mountain of student loans that made every bar tab feel like a felony. My brother Joseph, 3 years older and twice as grounded, was the golden child, working some mid-level gig at a tech startup in Manhattan, dating a string of women who looked like they stepped out of a J.Crew catalog. He was straight as an arrow, the kind of guy who high-fived his bros at sports bars and never questioned the script life handed him. Andrew was the wild card in Joseph's orbit, the one who'd transferred from some podunk college in Alabama to Columbia on a baseball scholarship that went bust after one too many knee surgeries. He was all lean muscle and easy grins, with hazel eyes that crinkled at the corners like he was always in on a joke you hadn't heard yet. We'd met at Joseph's 30th birthday bash last spring, a rooftop party in Williamsburg where the craft beers flowed like confessions. Andrew had clapped me on the back, called me Little Bro's Shadow, and spent the night regaling me with stories of road trips through the Smoky Mountains, his voice dipping low over the thump of indie rock. I laughed too hard at his punchlines, felt my cheeks heat when his knee brushed mine under the picnic table. Stupid, harmless crush stuff. That's what I told myself. Fast forward to now. Joseph was in D.C. for a work conference, leaving his Bushwick apartment, a cramped two-bedroom walk-up with exposed brick and a fire escape that doubled as a smoking lounge, to me for the weekend. "Keep an eye on the place," he'd texted, oblivious as ever. "Andrew might swing by, he's got that spare key." I hadn't thought twice about it. Until Andrew showed up Friday night, unannounced, with a six-pack of IPA and a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. "Mind if I crash? Subways are a nightmare this late." His smile was sheepish, boyish, the kind that made you forget the world was full of sharp edges. We ordered pizza from that hole-in-the-wall joint on Knickerbocker, the one with the grease-stained boxes that always arrived cold. Conversation flowed easy, movies we'd bootlegged in dorm rooms, the absurdity of adulting in a city that chewed you up and spat out your dreams. He sprawled on the couch like he owned it, feet propped on the coffee table cluttered with Joseph's dog-eared copies of The Atlantic. I sat cross-legged on the floor, back against the armrest, stealing glances at the way his t-shirt rode up when he laughed, exposing a sliver of tan skin above his belt. God, I was pathetic. By midnight, the pizza was gone, the beers half empty, and the air thick with something unspoken. He flicked on some old VHS of The Breakfast Club, Joseph's guilty pleasure, and we settled into a rhythm of quoting lines and passing the remote. "You ever feel like Bender?" he asked suddenly, his voice soft against the glow of the TV. "The one who doesn't fit, but pretends he does." I shrugged, heart thudding. "All the time. Like I'm directing my own shitty indie flick, waiting for the plot twist." He leaned forward, elbows on knees, and for a beat, our eyes locked. The room shrank, the city noise fading to a hum. Then he said it, "Stay the night with me, Alex." Not like crashing on the couch. With me. His words hung there, fragile as smoke. I swallowed hard, the yes tumbling out before my brain could veto it. We migrated to Joseph's guest room. Really just a glorified closet with a futon and a window overlooking the L train. The futon creaked under our weight as we tumbled onto it, clumsy and urgent, hands fumbling with buttons and zippers like we'd been starved for this our whole lives. His mouth was hot against mine, tasting of hops and salt, and when he whispered my name like a prayer, I shattered. It wasn't just sex, it was a revelation. Andrew's body moved with a grace that belied his athlete's build, slow, deliberate, like he was mapping every inch of me with his fingertips. He traced the scar on my collarbone from a childhood bike wreck, kissed the freckles across my shoulders like they were constellations. "You're beautiful," he murmured into my neck, and I believed him because in that moment, with the train rumbling past like a distant heartbeat, I felt seen. Truly, bone-deep seen. We talked after, tangled in sheets that smelled like Joseph's laundry detergent, about dreams deferred and fears unspoken. He confessed the pressure from his family back home, expectations of marriage, kids, the whole Southern Gothic playbook. "They don't know me," he said, voice cracking. "Not the real me." I held him then, my chest tight with a tenderness I'd never known, promising silently that I would. Saturday blurred into a haze of stolen moments. Coffee runs to the bodega on the corner, where he'd slip his hand into mine under the counter. Lazy afternoons on the fire escape, sharing earbuds and playlists heavy on Bon Iver and The National. Evenings cooking spaghetti from a box, sauce splattering the stove as we laughed and kissed and pretended this could last. By Sunday, as Joseph's flight landed, we'd woven ourselves into something fragile but fierce, a secret thread binding us across the chasm of our separate lives. But secrets have a way of fraying. That Monday, I woke to Andrew's side of the bed cold. A note on the pillow had to run, work emergency. Last night was everything. Talk soon? I smiled, tracing the loops of his handwriting, already replaying the curve of his hip under my palm. Work dragged. Interning at a production house in Chelsea, fetching coffee for directors who treated me like set dressing. But my phone buzzed at lunch. Joseph. "Yo, beers tonight?" Andrew's in. My stomach flipped. Not dread. Exactly. More like the thrill of a double life. The bar was the usual haunt. Dim lights, jukebox crooning Springsteen, the scent of stale peanuts and spilled stout. Joseph slid into the booth first, all broad shoulders and easy charisma, clapping me on the back. "How's the love life, little man? Still chasing ghosts?" I forced a laugh, muttering something about swiping left on destiny. Then Andrew arrived, wind blown from the subway, his grin flashing like nothing had changed. But when he hugged me, quick, bro-style pat on the back, his fingers lingered a second too long at my waist, a Morse code of heat that made my pulse stutter. We ordered rounds, the conversation meandering from Met's losses to Joseph's latest office drama. Andrew was quieter than usual, nursing his pint, his knee brushing mine under the table. Accidental? Intentional? The ambiguity was torture, sweet and sharp. As the night wore on, Joseph stepped out for a smoke, leaving us alone in the booth's amber glow. "Missed you today," Andrew whispered, his breath warm against my ear. I turned, our faces inches apart, and for a reckless second, I thought about kissing him right there. Consequences be damned. That's when the grenade detonated. Joseph burst back in, phone in hand, oblivious to the charge in the air. "Dude, you won't believe this. My ex from college just texted. Remember Sarah? She's in town." Andrew's face drained of color, his laugh forced and brittle. "Sarah? The one who—" He cut off, eyes darting to me, then away. Joseph barreled on, recounting some ancient hookup story, but I barely heard it. Sarah. The name landed like a slap. I'd seen the photos on Andrew's Instagram, old ones, sure, but there she was, arm looped through his at some tailgate, her smile bright as his. Was it all a front? Or worse, had last weekend been a lapse? A one-off in a life scripted for straight-laced normalcy? The rest of the night blurred. Forced toasts. Awkward silences. Andrew's texts lighting up my phone as we parted. "Sorry. It's complicated." "Call me?" I didn't. Instead, I drove home through the gathering storm, the wipers slapping rhythm like accusations. Complicated. Yeah, that was one word for it. Betrayal? Another. But mostly, it was heartbreak, raw and unrelenting, the kind that makes you question if love's worth the bleed. By Thursday, the silence between us was a chasm. I threw myself into edits at work, splicing footage of sunsets over the Hudson until my eyes burned. Joseph noticed. Of course, brothers have that radar. "You good, man? Look like you got ghosted by your own shadow." I brushed it off, but the lie festered. Andrew's radio silence was louder than any confession, each unchecked text a fresh cut. "What are we?" I typed, deleted, retyped. Was it real? Friday night, the universe conspired. Another invite from Joseph, bar crawl in the East Village. "Andrew's coming. Don't flake." I almost did. But curiosity or masochism won. The crawl started at a speakeasy off St. Mark's, all velvet curtains and overpriced gin. Andrew was already there, leaning against the bar in a fitted black button-down that hugged his frame just right. Our eyes met across the crowd, and the air crackled. He mouthed sorry, but I turned away, ordering a double neat. Joseph, ever the buffer, pulled us into a circle of his startup buddies, tech bros with crypto tattoos and opinions on everything. We played along, shots burning down our throats, laughter masking the undercurrent. But as the group migrated to the next spot, a thumping techno dive on Avenue A, Andrew cornered me in the alley smoke break. The rain had started, a fine mist that beaded on his lashes. "Alex, please. We need to talk." "Talk," I spat, the word tasting like ash. "You vanish, then show up like nothing? What's the play here? Andrew, am I your weekend experiment?" His face crumpled, hands raking through his hair. "It's not like that. God, it's not. Sarah. She's nothing. An old habit. Cover. My family's breathing down my neck about settling down, and I panicked. But you're the first real thing I've had. The vulnerability in his voice cracked my armor. I stepped closer, the rain mingling with the salt on my cheeks. Then why run? He reached for me, thumb brushing my jaw. Because I'm terrified. Of losing Joseph as a friend. Of my world imploding. But losing you? That's worse. His lips found mine then, fierce and forgiving, the alley swallowing our gasps. It was messy, desperate, the kiss of two people clawing back from the edge. We broke apart at the sound of Joseph's voice calling from the street. You coming or what? Andrew's eyes pleaded. Stay the night. My place. No more running. I nodded, the yes a lifeline. His apartment was in Bed-Stuy, a third-floor walk-up with creaky floors and posters of indie bands peeling at the edges. We barely made it through the door before clothes hit the floor, bodies colliding in a frenzy of need. This time, it was slower, deeper, his hands mapping my scars, my lips tracing the tattoos snaking up his ribs. A compass rose over his heart, pointing nowhere. We made love until dawn streaked the blinds, whispering promises into sweat-damp skin. I love you, he said, the words slipping out like a confession booth absolution. I echoed them back, believing, for once, in happy endings. But dawn brings light, and light reveals cracks. Monday morning hit like a freight train, alarms blaring, coffee bitter on my tongue, the ghost of Andrew's cologne lingering on my pillow. I dragged myself to the subway, replaying the weekend in loops. His laugh echoing off brownstone walls, the way his fingers intertwined with mine during a midnight stroll through Prospect Park. Fireflies winking like conspirators. Love. The word felt too big, too American dream shiny for the grit of our lives. But there it was, lodged in my chest like a stone I didn't want to dislodge. Work was a blur of storyboards and script revisions, my mind elsewhere. A text from Andrew buzzed at noon. Lunch? That falafel truck on 14th. I grinned, thumbs flying. Only if you admit pineapple on pizza is a crime. His reply, deal. But you're still wrong. We met under the scaffolding of a half-built high-rise, the city's perpetual construction mirroring the scaffolding in my heart. He looked wrecked, dark circles under his eyes, stubble shadowing his jaw, but his smile lit him up. We ate cross-legged on a bench in Union Square, pigeons scavenging crumbs, tourists snapping selfies oblivious to the real drama unfolding. Joseph texted me this morning, he said, casual as passing the tahini. Wants to grab dinner Wednesday. Us three. My fork paused midair. And, Andrew shrugged, but his eyes betrayed the storm. Feels like walking a tightrope. One wrong step. I squeezed his hand under the table, hidden from the world. We'll figure it. Together. He nodded, but doubt flickered. That night, I crashed at his place again, our bodies fitting like puzzle pieces worn smooth by use. As he slept, arms slung over my waist, I stared at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, wondering how long we could spin our own web of lies before it tangled us. Wednesday dinner was at a steakhouse in Midtown, all dark wood and overpriced sides. Joseph's idea of keeping it simple. He was in rare form, animated about a promotion pitch, oblivious to the electric current zipping between me and Andrew across the booth. Andrew played it cool, cracking jokes about Joseph's tie. Looks like you mugged a peacock. But his foot nudged mine under the table. A secret Morse. I miss you already. I choked on my ribeye, coughing to cover the flush creeping up my neck. As we spilled onto the sidewalk, Joseph slung arms around us both. Best bros, he slurred, hailed by a cab. Andrew and I lingered, the city's pulse thrumming around us, horns blaring, laughter spilling from doorways. "Walk me home," he murmured. We detoured through Bryant Park, leaves crunching underfoot, the library's lions standing sentinel. Under a lamppost's golden pool, he pulled me into the shadows, kissing me slow and deep, hands cupping my face like I was porcelain. "This is worth it," he breathed. "You are." The next weeks were a fever dream of stolen bliss. Mornings tangled in his sheets, afternoons stealing kisses in Central Park's ramble, that wild, wooded pocket where the straight world blurred at the edges. We'd hike the trails, hands brushing branches heavy with autumn color, sharing dreams over thermoses of black coffee. Andrew wanted to direct documentaries, the kind that peeled back America's underbelly, forgotten mill towns, queer kids in Bible Belt shadows. "Stories like ours," he'd say, voice fierce. I confessed my script, half finished, about a boy who loves his best friend's brother. "Meta," he teased, but his eyes shone. Yet the cracks spiderwebbed. Joseph's invites multiplied, game nights, brunches, a weekend upstate at some craft brewery. Each felt like a minefield. One night, post-karaoke disaster, Joseph belting Sweet Caroline off-key. Andrew got a call in the bathroom. I heard snippets. "Yeah, Mom. Seeing someone." Soon, his face emerged ashen, forced cheer masking the weight. "Family bullshit," he dismissed, but I pressed. In bed later, he spilled, pressure mounting for a visit home, questions about that nice girl Sarah from mutual friends. "They're not ready," he admitted, head on my chest. For me, the real me, I held him tighter, heart aching. "Then we'll make our own family," but doubt gnawed. My own coming out had been a war, high school whispers in Ohio turning to slam doors, Mom's tears soaking my graduation photo. Dad, silent as ever, golfing his grief away. New York had been my escape, a city that didn't care who you loved as long as you paid rent. But Andrew's ties ran deeper, roots tangled in red clay and expectations. Halloween weekend tipped the scales. Joseph threw a bash at his place, costumed chaos, cobwebs strung from rafters, pumpkin ale flowing. Andrew and I coordinated subtly, him as a vampire, cape billowing, fangs glinting, me as a slayer, leather pants, wooden stake prop. "To kill the monster," he whispered when Joseph wasn't looking, nipping my earlobe. The party pulsed, friends in drag, straights in ironic togas, bass thumping from Joseph's speakers. We danced in the kitchen, bodies close under the guise of rhythm, his hand low on my back sending sparks. Midnight, truth or dare circle in the living room. Joseph's buddy, a lanky accountant named Mike, grinned wolfishly. Andrew, truth, biggest regret. The room hushed. Andrew's eyes flicked to me, then away. "Letting fear call the shots," he said, voice steady but laced with something raw. Joseph hooped, misreading it as ex-girlfriend drama, but I felt the undercurrent. Later, on the fire escape, fog rolling in from the East River, Andrew lit a joint, passing it over. We smoked in silence, city lights twinkling like fallen stars, until he turned, eyes glassy. "Marry me. Someday. When it's safe." The words stole my breath. Not a proposal, exactly, more a vow, fragile as ash. I kissed him there, under the harvest moon, tasting smoke and promise. But as we slipped back inside, Joseph's voice boomed from the hall. Andrew, phone, your sister's freaking out. He took the call in the bedroom, door ajar. I hovered, catching fragments. Sarah? Yeah, she's great. Visiting soon. My stomach plummeted. Sarah again. The name like a specter. I confronted him after the party cleared. Guests stumbling into Ubers. Joseph passed out on the couch. What the hell was that? Andrew sighed, rubbing his temples. Damage control. Sis asked about dating. I panicked. It's nothing, Alex. Swear. But the lie hung heavy. A third wheel in our bed. We made up with frantic sex on the guest futon. Bodies erasing words. But the seed of doubt sprouted thorns. November brought chill winds and colder silences. Andrew pulled back. Texts lagging. Excuses piling. Overtime at his graphic design gig. Family calls draining his battery. I mirrored it, burying in deadlines, screening his voicemails. Joseph noticed, cornering me over burgers at Shake Shack. You and Andrew beefing? He's been weird too. I froze, ketchup bottle sweating in my grip. Nah, just busy. Lie number 2. That night, alone in my Astoria studio, I scrolled his Insta, old pics with Sarah resurfacing in suggested posts, her comments hearts under his baseball throwbacks. Was I the side quest? The breaking point came mid-month, a Friday fog thick as my mood. Joseph's text, emergency hang. Andrew's place. Bring beer. I arrived to find them mid-argument, voices raised through the door. Can't keep pretending. Andrew's drawl cracked. Joseph's reply, pretending what? You're acting like a ghost. I knocked, heart hammering. They opened up, faces flushed, Joseph waving it off as guy talk. Beers cracked, pizza ordered, but tension simmered like bad stew. After Joseph crashed on the couch, 2 buzzed to Uber. Andrew and I retreated to his room. Door locked. We collided, clothes shedding like old skin. Missed this, he groaned, hands everywhere. It was rougher than usual, edged with urgency, my nails raking his back as if to mark territory. Post-climax, tangled and spent, he traced patterns on my thigh. I ended it with the lie. Told my sister the truth. About us. About me. Pride swelled, but so did fear. How'd she take it? He shrugged. Shock. Then, okay. Said she'd love me anyway. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. Saturday morning, Joseph gone early for a run. Andrew's phone lit up, unknown number. He silenced it, but not before I glimpsed the preview. Hey Drew, to Sarah. Heard you're single? Coffee? The room tilted. Who the fuck is that? He paled, fumbling. X. Stalking my contacts from mutuals. I'll block her, but the damage was done, trust fracturing like thin ice. We fought then, ugly and American, accusations flying, voices echoing off cinderblock walls. You're playing both sides, I yelled. I'm surviving, he shot back. You think coming out's a hallmark moment? My dad's got a shotgun and a Bible. Tears stung. Words weapons. I stormed out, slamming the door on his plea. Alex, wait. The weeks that followed were a descent. Radio silence stretched, broken only by Joseph's worried check-ins. Andrew's a mess. Man. What gives? I dodged. Dove into work, a short film gig shooting in the Bronx. All concrete jungles and shattered dreams. Nights, I wandered bars in the village, flirting with strangers to numb the ache. But their touches felt like echoes, pale imitations. Joseph's family trip to Ohio, a siren call I declined. Come on. He pressed over eggnog at a holiday market. Mom's making her pecan pie. Andrew hovered nearby, our eyes meeting across the twinkling lights. A truce? Or trap? He mouthed talk? I nodded, slipping away later to a quiet bench by the rink. Skaters glided, laughter crystalline. I'm sorry, he started, breath fogging. For the lies. For Sarah, she's history, but the pull. The habit, safety, exhaled, snowflakes melting on my lashes. I get it. But I can't be your half measure. He took my hand, cold fingers warming in mine. You're my everything. Let's do this right. Tell Joseph. Together, the idea terrified, exhilarated. New Year's, I proposed. He agreed, sealing it with a kiss soft as snowfall. But fate, that cruel director, had rewrites. New Year's Eve, Times Square madness, confetti cannons primed. Joseph hosted pregame at his place. Champagne flutes, countdown clocks ticking. Andrew and I arrived separately, but our chemistry crackled, stolen glances like foreplay. As midnight neared, the crowd swelled outside, bass from distant fireworks vibrating the windows. Now or never, he whispered, pulling me aside. Joseph found us there, arms crossed. What's this? You two plotting world domination. Stealing. Joe. There's something. About me and Alex. Joseph's brow furrowed. Like what? The words tumbled. We're together. In love. Silence. Thick as fog. Joseph's face cycled. Confusion. Dawning horror. Betrayal. My brother? And you? How long? Andrew reached for him. Joseph recoiled. You're both liars. Get out. The door slammed behind us, cold air slapping like judgment. We stumbled into the throng, hands clasped, but the joy curdled. Fireworks bloomed overhead, a riot of color masking tears. He'll come around, Andrew insisted, but doubt shadowed his eyes. We crashed at my place, making love to the distant cheers, clinging like survivors. January brought frost and fallout. Joseph ghosted, texts unread, calls to voicemail. Andrew spiraled, family holidays strained, work suffering. He's my anchor, he confessed one night, bourbon slurred. I held him, but resentment brewed. Had I stolen his brother? Or set us free? Valentine's. A desperate bid for normalcy. Andrew booked a cabin upstate, snow-draped pines, crackling fire. We drove in silence, radio humming folk tunes. The cabin was rustic charm, quilts on the sleigh bed, stew simmering. We talked for hours, fears, futures, then tumbled into passion, bodies sinking like a well-rehearsed scene. Forever, he murmured post-climax. Always, I vowed. But dawn delivered the dagger. My phone, Joseph's text. Found out more. Andrew's been seeing Sarah. Behind your back. Sorry, bro. Attached. A blurry photo. Time-stamped last week. Andrew, arm around her at a coffee shop, laughing. The cabin walls closed in. I confronted him mid-pancake flip. Sarah? Again? His denial crumbled under my glare. It was one coffee, to end it clean. She cornered me. Lies. All lies. Packed. Tires spinning gravel as I fled. his shouts fading in the rearview. Back in the city, betrayal festered. Joseph's olive branch came tentative. Beers at our old spot. I should have seen it, he said, clinking bottles. He's always been conflicted. Forgiveness thawed us, brothers mending. But Andrew? Crickets. Spring bloomed, cruel in its indifference. I threw myself into film, my short premiering at Tribeca, applause echoing hollow. Andrew's texts trickled. Please. Let me explain. I deleted, blocked, rebuilt walls. Summer scorched in like an indictment, humidity turning sidewalks to saunas, my apartment a sweatbox of regrets. The premiere buzz faded fast, handshakes and keep-in-touches, dissolving into the ether of follow-up emails ignored. I bounced between freelance gigs, editing wedding videos for strangers who vowed eternity while mine crumbled to dust. Joseph stepped up, our bond reforged in late-night takeout and Mets games, his apologies layered thick as extra cheese. Andrew's ghosted everyone, he'd say, casual but probing. You holding up? I'd nod. Lie through teeth. Water under the bridge, but bridges burn, and mine was ash. Nights, I'd scroll Grindr not for hookups but validation, swipes right like bandages on a sucking chest wound. Flings came and went, a barista with tattoos like mine, a dancer whose flexibility promised forgetfulness. They were distractions, pretty poisons that left me emptier. Andrew haunted the edges, his laugh in a stranger's timbre, his scent on a laundered shirt I'd forgotten to toss. June's heat wave peaked with a blackout, citywide brownout plunging Manhattan into primal dark. I holed up at Joseph's, candles flickering like bad omens. We played cards by flashlight, bourbon loosening tongues. Remember that road trip to the Cape? He reminisced, dealing gin rummy. You were 12, puking peeps in the back seat. Laughter bubbled, real for once. Then, tentative, about Andrew. I pushed him too hard. Expected him to be the bro I needed, not the man he is. I stiffened, cards fanning. And? You cool now? Joseph sighed, shadows dancing on his face. Trying. Love's messy. Huh? Gay? Straight? Same bullshit. His words cracked something in me. We talked then, really talked, about Mom's quiet disapproval when I'd come out, Dad's golf club silences. I failed you both, Joseph admitted. Too busy playing hero. Tears pricked. I waved them off. You're here now. That's the plot twist. Power surged back at dawn. AC humming to life. Joseph crashed. I slipped out for a run along the promenade. Hudson glittering under rising sun. Mid-stride, my phone vibrated. Unknown number. Alex, it's Andrew. Please. Coffee. One chance. Delete. But the hook sank deep. July 4th. Fireworks over the East River. Joseph's crew grilling on the pier. I showed. Solo. Beer in hand. Fending off setups with married to my career quips. Andrew was there. Uninvited? Joseph's doing? Leaning against a railing, fireworks painting his face in bursts of red and gold. Our eyes locked across the smoke. He mouthed sorry. I turned away, heart a traitor pounding drums. Post-show, as crowds dispersed, he cornered me by the water taxis. 5 minutes, voice rough, eyes pleading. Against better judgment, I nodded. We walked to a quiet bench, ferries chugging like sighs. Sarah was closure, he started, hands twisting a napkin. Last coffee, I told her everything, about you. She's happy for me. Even. Skepticism curled my lip. Then why the photo? Why sneak? Shame flushed his cheeks. Stupid. Thought it'd hurt less if I eased out. But it was cowardice. Pure. I wanted to believe God. The ache for it, but scars ran deep. You broke me, Andrew. Trust isn't a light switch. He nodded, tears tracking. I know. And I'll spend forever fixing it. If you'll let me. The vulnerability gutted me. I stood, abrupt. I can't. Not yet. He didn't follow. Silhouette shrinking as I melted into the night. August dragged. A limbo of heat lightning and half-hearted additions. My script sold, optioned by a small indie house. Pennies but promise. Celebration drinks with Joseph turned confessional. Saw Andrew today. He's a wreck. Quit his job. Talking therapy. Pity stirred. Unwelcome. Good for him, but sleep evaded. Dreams replaying our fire escape nights. His whisper forever. Labor Day weekend. Joseph's upstate cabin invite. Same one Andrew and I had tainted. Fresh start, he urged. I went, needing escape from the city's chokehold. The drive was nostalgia-wrapped, billboards for apple orchards, radio crooning Dylan. Cabin life, hikes through fern-choked trails, lake swims cold as truth. Joseph and I fished off the dock, lines tangling like our history. Think about forgiving him? He asked, reeling in a bass. I stared at ripples. Forgiving's easy. Forgetting? That's the killer. Sunday barbecue, smoke signals rising. Guests trickled. Joseph's co-workers, a cousin from Ohio. Then Andrew, unannounced, six-pack in hand, eyes hopeful. Joseph's nod was permission. Mine, a storm. He approached slow, like taming a wild thing. Hey, simple, loaded. We migrated to the porch swing, creaking under weight. Heard about the script. Proud of you, his voice warm, genuine. I thought a degree. Thanks. Therapy helping, he nodded. Unpacking a lifetime of closets. Turns out, I'm pretty gay. Laughter escaped, brittle but real. We talked, surface at first, movies, Met's woes. Deeper, his folks' slow acceptance, a sister's allyship. I wrote you a letter, he said, pulling an envelope from his pocket. Read it later? I took it, fingers brushing, spark igniting. That night, alone by the fire pit, embers glowing, I unfolded it. Pages of scrawled regret, love etched in ink. You were my courage, my mirror. I lost you chasing shadows. But if there's a sequel, I'm all in. Tears blurred words. I pocketed it, unresolved. Fall foliage turned the city to flame. Central Park a riot of crimson and gold. My film's pre-production ramped. Casting calls, location scouts in Red Hook warehouses. Andrew's texts resumed. Gentle probes, saw your post, kill it. I replied, cautious bridges. Coffee meetups followed neutral ground. A cafe in Park Slope with mismatched mugs. Conversation danced. Safe topics. Lingering glances. One rainy afternoon, as thunder grumbled, he reached across the table. Missed this. Us. I didn't pull away. October's chill deepened cracks. Joseph's birthday bash. Costume optional, but drama mandatory. Andrew showed as Indiana Jones, whip coiled, hat tilted rakish. I went as a noir detective, trench coat hiding turmoil. The party thrummed, craft cocktails, playlist of 80s hits. We gravitated, orbiting like planets. A slow dance in the dim kitchen, his hand on my waist, my head on his shoulder. "Remember our first?" he murmured. Heat flushed, memories flooded. Midnight, balcony escape. City sprawled below, lights winking conspiracies. "I'm ready," he said, "to try again. No halves, doubt warred with desire. Prove it, challenge accepted." He kissed me then, slow burn under stars, world fading to us. Re-entry was tentative, dates masked as hangs. Joseph's blessing a quiet wingman nod. We rebuilt. Movie marathons in his new apartment, fresh start. Williamsburg loft. Brunches where he'd steal my fries. Winking. Sex reignited. Familiar yet new, exploring edges. Vulnerabilities bared. "I love you," post-glow. Every time. Echoed back. Truer each dawn. Thanksgiving loomed. Family gauntlet. Andrew's invite. Alabama road trip. Meet the clan. "Or bust," he joked, but eyes serious. I balked, Ohio scars fresh, but agreed. Drive south. Interstates blurring. Podcasts on queer icons. His hand on my thigh. Steady. Home was a ranch house in Huntsville, porch swing. Magnolias drooping. His mom. Steel-haired. Hug fierce. Dad, gruff handshake. Eyes appraising. Dinner. Turkey dry. Tension thick. Andrew's announcement. Casual over pie. "Alex is my partner." Forks paused. Mom's smile trembled. Dad grunted. "Pass the gravy." Awkward, but unbroken. Back north. Bond solidified. Christmas. Joseph's fold. Tree trimming with spiked cider. Andrew fit. Gifts wrapped thoughtful. Carols belted off-key. New Year's. Just us. Rooftop champagne. Countdown kisses under fireworks. "To sequels," he toasted. Clink. Winter thawed to spring. Our rhythm syncing. My film wrapped. Premiere invite extended. Andrew's graphic work bloomed. Queer zine illustrations. Gallery buzz. Joseph's startup soared. Brunches tripled. Toasts to found family. But drama's shadow lingered. May. Anonymous email to me. Screenshots of Andrew's texts to an ex. Flirty relics from Prius. Panic spiked. Confrontation erupted. "Old shit," he swore. Hacked account. Proof surfaced. Phishing scam. But trust quaked anew. We therapy tagged. Couple sessions in a Soho office. Unpacking baggage. "Communication's the glue," our counselor droned. We stuck. Messy but mending. Summer 24. Road trip west. Route 66 echoes. Motels with neon vacancy. Grand Canyon rim. Sunset painting us gold. "This is it," he said. Ring box sudden, simple band. Engraved always. Knee drop. Tears. "Yes," gasped. Pulled down to dirt-kissed proposal. Wedding whispers. Small. Brooklyn courthouse. Joseph's best man grin. Vows exchanged under oak. Friends toasting rainbows. Yet climax brewed. Fall premiere. My film shadows and light. Our story veiled. Red carpet nerves. Andrew's hand anchor. Screens glowed. Applause thundered. After party. Champagne rivers. Toasts flowing. Mid-swirl. Joseph's call. Emergency. Andrew's dad heart attack. Bad. World tilted. Flight south. Andrew white-knuckled beside me. Hospital vigil. beeps, antiseptic sting. Dad stabilized, but words waited. Bedside, grizzled face softened. Boy, you brought light. Andrew broke, my arm his rock. Healing, raw. Back home, scars faded. Life unfolded. Joseph's niece born, godparent duties shared. Andrew's exhibit, sold out, queer icons immortalized. 1 year on, anniversary hike, ramble trails, picnic spread, wine poured. Speechless still, he teased, echoing our hook. I laughed, pulling him close. Every day, but humanity's twist. Not fairy tale, but earned grace. Conflicts lingered, job stresses, family flares, but love weathered, deeper for storms. The second anniversary crept up like a thief in the night, all quiet anticipation laced with the ghosts of what we'd clawed through. We'd moved in together 6 months prior. A 1-bedroom in Greenpoint with harbor views and a kitchen big enough for 2 to bump hips while chopping garlic. It was domestic bliss wrapped in exposed brick. Sunday mornings with the Times crossword, his foot hooked over mine under the duvet. The scent of his sandalwood soap mingling with my citrus body wash. Andrew had landed a steady gig illustrating for The New Yorker, those sharp, satirical covers that captured America's pulse. And I was directing my first feature, a coming-of-age queer rom-dram set in the Rust Belt, greenlit by a Sundance darling. Life, for once, felt like a script we controlled. But control's an illusion, especially in a city that thrives on chaos. June's humidity was biblical, turning our AC-less walk-up into a steam bath. We'd planned the anniversary low-key, rooftop picnic at Joseph's building, string lights and a playlist of our firsts, the Nationals about today, Bon Iver's falsetto croon. Joseph was all in, manning the grill with his trademark enthusiasm, flipping burgers while regaling his girlfriend, a sharp-witted lawyer named Elena, with tales of our origin story. These two met over my crappy VHS collection. Now look, power couple. Andrew and I exchanged glances, his hazel eyes crinkling with that private warmth. Power couple? Careful. We'll start charging for cameos. I quipped, uncorking the rose. The evening unfolded golden, laughter echoing off water towers, Elena's dog chasing fireflies, Joseph's toast slurring into sentiment. To love that survives the bullshit. Y'all make me believe. Andrew's hand found mine under the blanket, thumb stroking knuckles, a Morse code of I love you. Midnight found us tipsy on the fire escape. City hum a lullaby. 2 years, he murmured, nuzzling my neck. Feels like yesterday's spark. I turned, kissing him slow, the world shrinking to his taste, salt and summer. But as we descended, Buskill arrived. My phone, director's assistant frantic. Shoots delayed, location permit snag. Lead actor flaking, Andrew groaned, but squeezed my shoulder. We've got this. Team, the snag snowballed. Budget overruns. Investor jitters. Andrew's deadlines clashed. A book cover rush for a fall release. Tempers frayed. Snapped words over dishes. Silences heavy as humidity. One night, post-argument, something stupid, like whose turn for laundry. He retreated to his sketchpad, charcoal flying furious. I watched from the doorway, guilt twisting. Sorry, I whispered. He looked up, eyes softening. Me too. We're human, babe. Makeup sex on the living room rug. Urgent and affirming, mending the microfractures. Joseph sensed the strain, inviting us to his Hamptons share for a weekend reset. Beaches, boys. No drama. We drove out Friday. Windows down. Springsteen blasting Thunder Road. The house was weathered shingle. Waves crashing sentinel. Days blurred. Volleyball on the sand. Andrew's spike unbeatable. Bonfires where we'd roast marshmallows and secrets. Elena grilled him on wedding plans. Courthouse was cute. But rings? Vows 2.0. Andrew blushed, glancing my way. Patience. Woman. He's the romantic. I'm the planner. Night 3 meteor shower watch on the dunes. Blankets spread. Champagne chilled. As streaks lit the velvet sky, Andrew rolled toward me, voice hushed. Marry me again. Properly. Vows. Flowers. The works. Heart stuttered, we toyed with it. But this? Real. Yes. I breathed. Ceiling with stars above. Back in the city. Planning ignited. Venue hunt. Rooftop in Dumbo. Guest list, queer film fam. His Alabama crew. Joseph's hype was infectious. I'll officiate. Got ordained online for a buddy's elopement. But undercurrents stirred. Andrew's folks, post-heart attack, were warming. Mom sending care packages of pecan sandies. Dad's emails thawing to proud son sign-offs. Yet a call from his sister. Daddy's asking questions. About stability. Kids. Andrew's face fell. We're fine, he insisted post-hang-up. But doubt seeded. Shoot resumed chaos. Reshoots in the pouring rain. Actors temperamental. Me unraveling. Andrew buffered, soups delivered to set. Pep talks in the trailer. You're killing it, he'd say, towel drying my hair. But exhaustion bred distance. I'd crash on the couch, scripts glowing accusatory. One dawn, he woke me with coffee and concern. We're drifting. Talk. Over mugs. Truth spilled. My imposter syndrome. His isolation in a straight-leaning design world. I feel like the sidekick, he admitted. Gut punch. Never. You're the lead. Therapy reboot. Sessions unpacking. Reconnecting. October premiere loomed, my film. Echoes in the alloy. TIFF invite. Andrew's exhibit synced. Joint event. His art inspiring the score. Hype built. Interviews. Red carpet fittings. But betrayal's echo resurfaced. Anonymous tip. Paparazzi snap of Andrew at a bar with a mystery man. Blurry. Innocuous. But tabloid bait. Frenzy erupted. Outlets speculating trouble in paradise? Joseph's fury. Hunt the leaker. Andrew swore innocence. Old colleague. Networking drink. Trust teetered. I believed, but the scar itched. We powered through, therapy tools deployed. Boundaries redrawn. Premiere night. Lincoln Center glitz. Flashes blinding. Andrew in tailored navy. Arm mine unbreakable. Screens flared. Tears flowed. Audience gasp at the betrayal scene. Mirror to ours. Q&A. My voice steady. Crediting my muse. My husband in all but ink. Standing ovation. After-party toasts drowned doubts. November elections loomed. America's fever rising. Anti-LGBT bills snaking through states. Protests flaring. Andrew's art turned activist. Posters for rallies. His compass rose inked with pride flags. We marched arm in arm. Joseph's sign hoisted high. Love wins. Bitches. Chants empowered. But home. News feeds chilled. Friends' deportation scare. Safe spaces shuttered. This country's fracturing, Andrew whispered. Post-rally. I held him. So we glue it. Holiday split. Thanksgiving, Alabama. Christmas, Ohio. South. Magnolia wreaths. Mom's feast laced with questions. Grandkids. Andrew's deflection smooth. Our family's growing sideways. Dad's quiet nod, progress. North. Mom's embrace tighter. Dad's golf invite including me. Four's a game. Joseph's clan swelled. Niece toddling. Elena's ring flash. Toasts tiered. To chosen paths. New Year 26. Vow renewal. Intimate rooftop under snowflakes. Joseph officiating. Vows raw. Andrew's, you taught me bravery. Mine, you showed me home. Rings exchanged anew. Kiss sealed amid cheers. Spring bloomed resilient. Film's Oscar buzz, long shot, but thrill. Andrew's book deal. Joseph's startup IPO whispers. But conflict-crested summer. Investor pullout on my sequel. Homophobic exec citing, niche appeal. Rage boiled. Andrew's console. Fuck him. Crowdfund. We rallied, GoFundMe soaring. Queer creators uniting. August storm. Literal and figurative. Hurricane remnants flooded sets. Metaphorically, Andrew's Xera resurfaced. Email apology tour. Support offered post-scandal. Jealousy flared. Argument exploded. Why entertain? Closure. Not conspiracy. Slams. Silences. Joseph's mediation. Cabin retreat. Trails cleared heads. Lakeside talks mended. We're battle-tested, Andrew affirmed. Proposal ring glinting. Fall harvest. Sequel greenlit. Fan-funded. Andrew's exhibit. Record crowds. Marriage equality theme. Joseph's wedding to Elena. Ushers in matching boutonnieres. Toasts ribbing finally caught up. Winter 26. Niece's baptism. Queer uncles co-godparents. Tradition bent inclusive. Andrew's 40th. Surprise party. Drag queens serenading. My directorial nod. Emmy for short form. Yet humanity's core. Not perfection, but persistence. Conflicts ebbed. Microaggressions at family dinners. Career plateaus but love anchored. Deeper for depths plumbed. One eve. Fire escape perch. City lights are confetti. Speechless? He teased. Echoing origins. Utterly, I replied. Kiss eternal. The third anniversary dawned crisp. March winds whispering renewal through our Greenpoint windows. We'd evolved, not just survivors, but architects of a life etched in compromise and joy. Andrew's book, Drawn Outlines, Queer Lines in American Ink, hit shelves to acclaim. His illustrations a bridge between heartland aches and coastal hopes. My sequel, Fractured Frames, Wrapped Principle, dailies buzzing with promise. Joseph and Elena's honeymoon glow lingered, their loft now kid-proofed for the bump she'd announced, our niece getting a cousin. Family expanded. But life's no linear edit, cuts and fades intercut. April showers brought investor woes anew, studio execs balking at the gay lead's arc, code for market fears. Boardroom battles wore me thin. Pitches laced with data on queer box office booms, moonlight, call me by your name. But skepticism lingered, a sour note in the room. Andrew buffered, his artist's eye spotting subtext. They're scared of stories that mirror back. We rallied crowdfunding round 2. Fan art floods. Joseph's venture contacts injecting seed. Victory tasted sweet, but the fight scarred, reminding us progress's fragility. Mayday rally, we marched again. Signs aloft, no bans, no walls. Andrew's posters plastered subways. His compass rose a symbol. Chants unified, but post-march, news hit. Alabama bill, curtailing trans youth care. His call home. Mom's voice cracking. It's getting harder here. He paced our kitchen. Phone hot. We'll visit. Show them we're unbreakable. Road trip planned. Summer circuit. Queer ally events en route. June Pride. Rainbow flags snapping like sails. Parade float, our film crew aboard. Andrew waving from the helm. Joseph's stroller-pushing cameo. Elena beaming. Nightcap at Stonewall. Toasts to origins. Hands clasped under bar glow. From alley kisses to this, Andrew marveled. I squeezed. Best plot twist. July heat peaked with a curveball. Joseph's startup implosion. Market crash. Layoffs. He crashed our couch. Hollow-eyed. Failed them all. We tag-teamed. Andrew's sketches for his resume reboot. My network intros to production firms. Late nights. Urban philosophy. Failure's just exposition, I'd say. He laughed. Eventual. Rebound gig. Podcast producing. Voice steadying. August road trip. Dusty highways south. AC blasting podcasts on Audre Lorde. Stops. Queer bookshops in Asheville. Drag brunches in Chattanooga. Huntsville arrival. Folks welcome warmer, hugs lingering. Dad's grillmaster nod. Dinner discourse. Bill debates. Moms we vote love. Andrew's sister. Partner in tow. Toasts. Y'all make us braver. Drive back. Hearts fuller. Roots reinforced. September equinox. Fractured frames premiere. Venice haze. Red carpet surreal, gowns swirling. Paparazzi frenzy. Andrew's arm steel. Post-screening. Tears and thunderous claps. Jury prize nod. Queer film vindicated. After party. Champagne toasts. But quiet talk. This for every kid hiding. Homebound. Jet-lagged bliss. October foliage. Joseph's proposal to produce my next family discount. Elena's shower. We co-hosted. Pastel chaos. Andrew's diaper cake's a hit. Niece's third birthday. Park picnic. Cake-smeared faces. Andrew's whisper. Kids someday. Seed planted. No rush. November chill, elections fever. We canvassed door-to-door in Brooklyn. Joseph's megaphone rallying. Results mixed. Gains. Losses. Vigil candlelight. Andrew's arm around me. We'll keep fighting. Holiday fusion. Thanksgiving fusion. Mom's yams. Mom-in-law's cornbread. Dad's toast. To bridges. Not walls. Joseph's paternity leave tease. Grins wide. December solstice. Vow ritual. Winter woods upstate. Joseph's words. Love's the edit that sticks. Rings renewed. Snow falling confetti. 27 bloomed bold. My Oscar nom. Supporting director. Long shot but luminous. Andrew's TEDx. Drawing the invisible, viral ripples. Joseph's pod hit charts. Elena's birth. Nephew arrived. Tiny fists waving. Spring storm. Family health scare. Andrew's mom. Cancer whisper. Flights south. Hospital waits. Treatment greenlit. Our vigil. Hands linked. She's a fighter, he said. Voice steel. Summer remission. Lake house recovery. Us grilling. Stories swapped. Fall harvest. Nephew's baptism. Godparent redux. Andrew's exhibit. Interactive. Visitors tracing their compasses. Winter 27. Niece's school play, we front row. Applause roaring. Yet climax's shadow, betrayal redux. Spring 28. Leaked script pages, my next. By lead, twisted by trolls online. Backlash viral, death threats, doxing. Andrew's shield, lawyer calls, public stand. Joseph's hack, counter-campaign, ally voices. We weathered, stronger film pulled, but spirit unbroken. Indie release, box office smash, message amplified. Summer solace, Italy escape, Amalfi Cliffs, pasta feasts. Proposal echo, third time's eternal, laughter, waves lapping vows. Fall 28, Joseph's Emmy win, our cheers loudest. Elena's book club, queer reads stacked. Winter close, nephew's first steps, toward us. Humanity's arc, not climax conclusion, but continuum. Conflicts, micro, macro, persist. Policy reversals, personal dips. But love's the through line. Romantic in ruins rebuilt. Dramatic in dances with darkness. Emotional in every exhale. Kitsch in quiet holds. Fire escape. Years on, city eternal. Still speechless, Andrew asks. Hair silver-threaded. Breathless. I correct. Kiss timeless. In America's vast script, betrayals penned, redemptions directed, we choose our frames. Ours, focused on us, lens wide on grace,